The hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. Mother Teresa. Hi everyone. In this video lesson, I'm going to be talking to you about the poem My Grandmother's House by Kamala Das. Kamala Das, also known as Madhavi Kuti, was born on 31st March 1934 into the well-known Nalapat Tharavada. She was a bilingual writer. A bilingual person is a person who is able to use two languages. Kamala Das used Malayalam for her prose writing and English for her poetry. She is popular as a poet and short story writer. In 1999, she converted to Islam and took the name Kamala Suraya. My Grandmother's House is one of the most important poems of Kamala Das. It is an autobiographical poem written in memory of the poet's grandmother. Kamala Das wrote it when she was a teenager. I shall now read the poem. There is a house now far away where once I received love. That woman died. The house withdrew into silence. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. How often I think of going there to peer through blind eyes of windows or just listen to the frozen air. Or in wild despair, pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to lie behind my bedroom door like a brooding dog. You cannot believe, darling, can you, that I lived in such a house and was proud and loved, I who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' doors to receive love, at least in small change. The poem contains 16 lines. The words used in the poem are simple. The title of the poem, My Grandmother's House, is very direct and clear. We understand what the poem is about from the title itself. The poem is about the speaker's or poet's grandmother's house. In the introduction, I told you that Kamala Das was born into the Nalapat Tharavada. This was Kamala Das's grandmother's house, and our poem is about this Nalapat house. It is not just a poem about the house, it is also a poem about the house owner, that is the grandmother of the speaker. The poem is also about the relationship between the speaker and the house, and the speaker and the owner of the house. We shall now go through the poem line by line. The poem opens with the lines, There is a house now far away where once I received love. The word now in the first line tells us that the house was not far away in the past, it is now far away. The poet now lives in a big city after her marriage, away from her grandmother's house. Kamala Das is not just talking about the distance in miles here, she is talking about another kind of distance here. The speaker received love in that house. The importance of the house is that the speaker received love from that house once. It means that there is not enough love in her life at present. As Mother Teresa said, the hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. The next line says that woman died. The owner of the house, the speaker's grandmother, died. The house withdrew into silence. This line is a powerful line which tells us that after the death of the speaker's grandmother, the house became silent. The house here is seen as a living thing. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read. From the poem, we understand that after the death of the grandmother, the house was locked up. People stopped living there. And snakes started moving among books, and the books had not been read by the speaker because she was then too young to read them while she lived there. The snakes that might have been in the compound of the large Nalapat house started getting into the house once people stopped living there. My blood turned cold like the moon. We find the use of simile in this line. Simile is a figure of speech that compares two things using like or as. The speaker says that her blood has turned cold like the moon. What is cold or coldness a symbol of? Have you ever touched a dead body? If you have, you will know how cold it is. Cold is the symbol of death. Why does the poet here say that her blood turned cold like the moon? The moon is the perfect symbol of coldness and farness. Now, living away from her grandmother's house, the poet or the speaker often thinks of going there. The house is locked up and nobody lives there now. Even if the speaker goes to her grandmother's house now, all that she can do is to peer. Peer means to look with difficulty. So all that she can do is to peer through the blind eyes of windows. Why are windows described as blind here? We can actually see through windows, can't we? Yes, we can. Windows are like eyes. But here the speaker says that the windows are blind eyes, eyes which have no sight. It can mean a lot of things. It could mean that the windows are dusty, full of dust, and so one cannot see through it. It could also mean that the windows are shut and that they cannot be opened. It can also mean that even if the windows are open, there is only darkness inside and the speaker cannot see what is inside the house. Because the speaker cannot see anything inside the house, the windows are blind-eyed. The next thing the speaker can do is to try and listen to what is inside the house. What is inside the house? What is present everywhere? The air. The air inside is frozen. It is not fresh as the house is locked up. Frozen represents coldness. Coldness is a symbol of death, as I mentioned earlier. The speaker cannot see what is inside the house. She can only listen to the frozen air. It is like listening to nothing. The speaker wishes to bring an armful of darkness from her grandmother's house to her bedroom and make it lie there like a brooding dog. Armful of darkness could mean the memories of her grandmother's house. We cannot touch darkness. The poet uses a beautiful simile here and compares the darkness in her grandmother's house to a brooding dog. The darkness becomes a brooding dog lying behind the speaker's bedroom door. Brooding means deeply thoughtful. We know the dog is a very faithful and loyal animal. The poet means that the darkness or memories of her grandmother's house will follow the speaker wherever she goes like a brooding dog. You cannot believe, darling, can you, that I lived in such a house and was proud and loved? In these lines, we find the speaker addressing someone. She calls that person darling. Who is that person? It could be the reader, or the darling could also be the husband of the speaker. Kamala Das married Madhav Das when she was just 15 years old. In most of Kamala Das's works, we find her talking about the loveless marriage between her and her husband. So maybe through these lines, you cannot believe, darling, can you, that I lived in such a house and was proud and loud. She is telling her husband that once upon a time, she lived in a great big house where she was proud and loud and taken care of by her grandmother. She is sure that her husband will find it difficult to believe that his wife was someone who was dearly and deeply loved in the past, and that is why she uses the "you cannot believe, darling" expression. The speaker's life has now changed so much that she now begs at strangers' doors. What does she beg for? Food? No. She begs or asks for love, at least in small change. Here change means coins. She had received love in huge currency notes once upon a time from her grandmother. But now she begs for love. In the past, she was deeply loved by her grandmother, but now in the present, she has to beg for love. That too in small change. The use of currency notes and change at the end of the poem to symbolize love is brilliant. The poet had once received love in large currency notes from her grandmother, but now she has to beg for love at strangers' doors. The poet's nostalgia or longing for the past can be seen in the poem. The poet wishes for something that is no longer there. She wishes for the kind of love she received as a child from her grandmother. Now the situation has changed. The speaker now does not receive love from anywhere. She knows very well that no one will be able to love her the way her grandmother loved her, but she hopes to get at least some part of it.